When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin, this is Kotobuki J,
Hi.
and we're here to show you what we got.
Yes.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
Alright, well, this time around, I have a special theming to my pickups. Because I got something special, which is the last of my pickups I'm going to talk about, and if you haven't guessed, you'll find out at the very end, which is why I'm going to let him go first.
All right. Well, as promised last week, I had a pretty badass bunch of stuff to present, but tornadoes happened.
Lots of tornadoes.
Yes. Yeah, I think the count's up to 10.
Actually, 15.
15.
Not that touched down, but 15 that were forming.
Yeah, 10 touchdown. Of course, one of them barely counts because it wasn't even a mile long. It like touched down in a yard and then it was gone. You know, it was like... But we had 10 touchdowns in Virginia. One was way off in Mecklenburg, so that didn't really affect us here.
One death, though.
One death very close to where I live.
Yeah.
Very close. There was a tornado that started near where I live and tracked almost up to where he lives. Yeah. And during that time, it went through what they call the F1 category or EF or whatever is 1, 2, and that's when the death happened. And then it dropped suddenly down to 0, but it kept going. You know, and we had several that were rated 0, and I think 3 others were rated 1.
Yeah.
So we had some serious weather. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but...
Yeah, that was the strongest one. And that's the one you'll find video. If you look and you say, you know, Tornado Virginia 2018, you'll see video of the one tearing off the roof. I think that's the one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no, the roof got torn off a couple blocks from there. Yeah, no, that was the same one, but it was a couple blocks from there. But yeah, the death happened. Apparently, this guy who worked in a factory warehouse or whatever apparently had been helping other people get out of the building, but then the roof fell on him, and yeah, so unfortunate for Yeah.
Well, let's see what you got.
But yeah, on better news, I did have to match his theme. I took that awesome group of 5 and added 2 really awesome ones to it. So the first part. And mine comes in a couple different thematic blocks too. The first part is a trio of trilogies that I acquired from the library. All 3 of these are 3 movie packs. So I just thought it would be great to present them all together. And in reference to the new piece of the franchise that just came out, I think, in theaters, I got a 3 movie pack of the Predator movies.
Woo!
Got Predator, Predator 2, and Predators.
I have that too.
I have to admit, I have never seen any of these movies. I'm a bad movie geek for never having seen any.
You've never seen the original Predator?
No.
Inconceivable!
I've probably seen bits and pieces. So now I have little excuse to continue onward without seeing it.
Predator 2 is an acid trip, but the first movie is it's a classic.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I'm looking at these. There's some good people involved. You know, it should be a lot of fun. Yeah.
I mean, cool. I've got the Blu-ray version of that. So.
And I cannot swear to it, but I'm pretty sure all 3 of these movie packs cost $1, which is always nice. So,
well, I can only say one thing to that.
I'd buy that for $1.
But
But this is a work safe channel.
Alright, so I'm going to start with my first. And again, I'm sure that actually you've probably got a good number of these yourself.
Not this one.
This one
I haven't even
is
seen this one.
A Fantastic Woman. Now, this one is an Oscar winner.
Uh-huh.
And I believe it won Best Foreign Language Film.
Yep. For Chile.
So, the foreign language films always release late, it seems. But it's kind of cool to have it. I'm hoping to actually see this. The price had dropped down briefly to like $11. And whenever
That's
you
a
see
good
a foreign
price.
film for around that, you've got to go for it. It really needs to. So, to me, this was worth checking out. Was this the one? Well, it looks interesting.
Was it the one what?
It's about the trans woman.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was trying to think of what I knew that it was about something LGBT, but I couldn't remember.
And if I recall correctly, I believe it is a trans actress who's the star of the movie, and they made a big deal about that. But supposedly it's really good, and my experience so far with South American cinema has been mostly positive, so I look forward to it myself. Now, on the probably on the other end of the quality scale, but nonetheless a fun series. And unlike Predator, I have seen all 3 of the movies in this collection. I have the Austin Powers 3-film collection, which includes, of course, Austin Powers International Man of Mystery, Austin Powers The Spy Who Shagged Me, and Austin Powers in Goldmember. Goldmember is easily the weakest of the bunch.
Actually, yeah, I have that too.
You got you got a Blu-ray though.
I actually like the cover better on yours.
Yeah, this is appropriate to him because he's this, of course, was the demented brainchild of Michael Myers and or Mike Myers, whatever.
Michael Myers.
It's a fun series, not deep or particularly highbrow, but yeah, baby.
I saw the first Austin Powers in theaters. I did not know
Really?
I did not know what I was going in for.
That would be a rude awakening.
Friends of mine actually told me, yeah, this is a movie we need to see, Austin Powers. I had never heard anything about it at the time, and I was just like, I was surprised for the first part of the movie, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is funny. It is a funny series overall. Though the movies got slightly worse as it went.
And was it the first movie that featured Beautiful Stranger? Or is it the second one?
I think it's the second one.
Because that, of course, was a huge hit for Madonna about the time I was graduating for high school. So, yeah.
Shows you how old the movies are.
Yes. That is still much newer than those.
So this one was actually given to me as a gift by somebody that I know. And
I don't know who.
And this one is I, Tonya. And this one got Best Supporting Actress. Gosh, what was the name of the person?
Allison Janney.
There you go. And from what I heard, it's even on the cover, which I can't read, by the way, apparently. Had many nominations. I've heard it's an awesome film. Another thing back from when I was in high school, I remember when Weird Al Yankovic released the single at the time.
Headline News.
And Headline
I
News.
loved Headline News.
And that part was on here. So, it's something that is interesting for me. I'm hoping to take a look at this. Just getting the time. That's the issue with these. But
you know what they should have done for a bonus feature? They should have had commentary by Weird Al Yankovic.
or at least put the music video on
Yes.
there.
When they do the Criterion release, they better do that. That'd be awesome. That movie deserves a Criterion release one of these days because it is pretty awesome.
Well, he's a good enough sport for it. That'd be sure.
Yeah.
All
right. So, to finish off my trilogy of trilogies, I believe you showed me all 3 of these, but I can't remember for sure. But I have the RoboCop trilogy.
Ah.
That has, of course, RoboCop extended version, RoboCop 2 and RoboCop 3. But this is actually a pretty cool set.
I was gonna say
It's
that's
like,
a
if
cool
you
looking
look at
set
it,
there.
it like opens up. It's really weird looking, but it's like opens up, you know, like this.
So you could even have robot noises. Imagine robot noises. That's a cool-
Yeah, so I get the feeling that that's a set that I'm not going to want to open very often because it's going to wear and tear like nobody's business. But it's really cool the first couple times you open it.
Yep,
But this was a fun movie. I think I saw all three. I know I saw the first one. And very happy to finally have all of these. Like, honestly, I had the first two of these. I condensed it and got the third one. And to me, that was worth $1.
Oh, yeah.
But these were major gets for the collection because you can't really be a film collector without those series.
Or at least the first one
yeah.
of those series.
Huh.
So our next film, it's weird where I've got the higher brow movies so far.
Oh, things will change.
I picked up at Target again. They finally brought it down to a price that I was willing to pay, $11.99.
Ah.
Still a little bit $1 higher than I wanted to pay, but I went ahead and bought it anyway, and that is Blade Runner 2049.
All right.
Which won the Oscar for cinematography and visual effects. I need to know, I wasn't a big fan of the original. I'm not like most people who idol worship the movie. I was kind of bored by it, tell you the truth.
Well, I'm not the only one.
But I'm curious. I'm willing to watch it. I mean, I doubt it's as boring as the first. So
I thought 2049 was less boring.
More visually spectacular, apparently.
It is. I didn't really think it was the most spectacular film of the year, though. But it was visually impressive.
Well, that's all I really got.
Yeah. But anyway, now we will get into the higher brow for a moment. I have not really said much. In fact, it's probably good that we gained a week, because that gave me another week without contributing to my own downfall on this. But I think the cat is out of the bag now. Mm-hmm. Or, as they say, you know, the monkey's out of the bottle.
Monkey's out of the bottle, man.
Well, you started getting those in.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to put that clip right there. There is a gentleman. Oh, I say gentleman. I really have no idea. There's a vendor on eBay that has been selling off a ton of Criterion Collection movies. It's insane. Most of the auctions are starting at 99 cents. I have, at this point, paid for and received 6 Criterion films. And I have another one on order, but this one I fear I overpaid for. But the very first one I got, unfortunately, is still the only one I've gotten that I really, really cared about. It's just Criterion. You can't pass up these deals. But the one that I really wanted that I've gotten already is one that I have eyed the last 4 Criterion sales. And I keep putting it back. And I finally got it. It's a film that I think I've seen twice, including once in theaters. Oh. And that's Terry Gilliam's classic film, Brazil.
Ah, I know you've been after that for a long time.
I've been after this for a while. And Criterion really they did good with this one. It's a 2-disc set. There's a lot of bonus features on it. If you've never seen Brazil, and apparently when I saw it in theaters, it was a midnight showing. And apparently most of them had never seen it because it was like a regular viewing of a movie. Yeah. And usually with midnight showings, people are all into it. Oh, yeah. And all this stuff. And they didn't, they barely did anything. But I myself could not really quote the movie to you. Maybe when I see it 2 or 3 more times. But I will say this. 2 things really stick out in my brain about this one, other than the general quality and the general... one is its strong Orwellian feel. And now that I've read 1984, I understand better Orwellian. I understand that much better. But I also feel, and I've always felt, and I don't know what you think on this movie came out, I believe, the year after or 2 years after Pink Floyd's The Wall. And I always felt that Gilliam had probably seen The Wall one time too many when he made this one.
Well, that one was probably the strongest drug trip film that I've ever seen.
But I really felt like The Wall influenced this. And I don't know if that's a widely held belief or not. But the other thing is, minor spoiler alert, one of my favorite moments in any movie ever from the 80s, in terms of any sort of satire I've ever seen, is the part where Robert De Niro literally disappears in the paperwork. I'm like, there is no better scene on film for the perils of bureaucracy.
Yes.
So this is a good movie. It's really worth watching. You know, Robert De Niro, Michael Palin, I think Jonathan Pryce co-starred. This is one I've been after for a while, and I ended up getting it with shipping. It cost about $18, which is slightly less than the Criterion sale, so not a bad price. And I did want to mention, I don't know what I'm going to do with these, but I like this. They come in these sleeves specifically for Blu-rays. It's like, I don't know if I don't think I want to invest in getting more of those, but I'm wondering if I should. That's kind of cool, and it definitely shows whoever was collecting these really was into it.
I mean, like, I have a few of those.
Yeah.
Different type of movie. But as far as Brazil is concerned, I need to watch it again. I really wasn't as impressed the first time I watched it, but that was years and years ago. So I have to check it out again.
It's probably been 15 years since I've seen it. I mean, it's been a minute.
So the next film I've got coming out was the winner of Best Adapted Screenplay. I figure y'all are getting my theme by now. At least I think. And that is Call Me by Your Name. Was this? I'm trying to think of what the was this one also LGBT related? I can't remember.
You could say that. Yeah, Armie Hammer and Timothée Chalamet play a couple ish.
So yeah, but again, I have yet to see it. I did not see hardly any movies for this year's Oscars. I must admit,
Slacker.
I have seen more now.
Yeah.
Than I saw back then. But this one, definitely up there. What was the other one? The Florida Project? Wasn't that up for that same award?
That was only up for supporting
original?
actor.
That one looked interesting, too.
The Florida Project was interesting, but I thought it was overrated. The only thing it ended up getting was a nod for Willem Dafoe, and he was great, but he wasn't as good as... I ended up calling Florida Project to win for supporting actor, and I should have known better. But anyway, so it's my go?
Yep.
So, with Brazil, I actually got another Criterion film, and so I decided those two were the two I added on to last week's little bundle. This one I got dirt cheap. It may end up being the cheapest one I get. It cost $12.50 with shipping. But that may be a function of the fact that it's a film by Whit Stillman. And the only film I've seen by Whit Stillman is Metropolitan. That was a boring film. I probably tick off some Whit Stillman fans by saying that. And I need to watch it again. But my first impression was it was a boring film. But he is known for several other films. I still do need to see Last Days of Disco. I've heard good things about that. But the one that I've added to the collection now for $12.50 on Blu-ray is his film Barcelona, which is supposedly a romantic comedy. It's if Metropolitan is any indication, it's probably Sahara Dry. You know, is very, very dry comedy. Not really a particularly big name cast for the most part, although it does have Mira Sorvino, so I'm looking forward to that. She is a pretty talented actress who didn't get to... she kind of faded off after... I guess she peaked with Mighty Aphrodite, really. Very, very attractive, too. And Tushka Bergen sounds familiar, too. But at any rate, I got it mainly because Criterion. But I am curious about it. It's filmed from 1994, so it's does have a lot of bonus features on it. Both of these fit very well the rule that a film needs to have some age before Criterion will touch it. They don't usually do that, but it would be nice if they did.
94,
but,
so yeah.
Again, for a combined cost of about $30, getting 2 Blu-rays is not bad at all. And they're, even if they are used, they're practically new. So that was a pretty cool get. I'm excited.
Well, this next one I have seen, and speaking of eBay purchases, this one won Best Costume Design. Now, again, I finally watched this. This is one I watched after, of course, the awards. I recently. And
for all you Fred fans out there.
And this is the Phantom Thread, not the Phantom Fred. This one, I admit, the costume design was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about a person who makes dresses.
Yeah.
And probably one of the more dislikable couples I have seen on screen. And you talk about dry films. I had a hard time staying awake during this one, so I had to watch it in multiple goes. Me and my wife did. And
did you find that one more tedious or The Master?
This one was more tedious than The Master.
I had more trouble with The Master.
But Daniel Day-Lewis could have picked a worse one for his swan song. He did very well in his job acting in this part.
Yeah.
Which I believe he got a nomination for.
Yeah.
But such a dislikable character.
Yeah.
And I don't feel sorry for the woman he's with either, because she's almost as dislikable in a lot of the things that she does in the movie. So, again, hard watch. But if you like high art, you like good costume design, and you like good acting, check it out.
P.T. Anderson loves his movies about people with issues.
Lots of issues.
Yes, he does. Okay, speaking of people with issues, but this is a very different sort of deal. This was an eBay get that I picked up that someone put up a whole bunch of anime new that were really, the prices were... They were auctions that they started at like $5 to $10 less than what we could expect to be a good sale price. You know what I mean? Like this one that I got, it was the cheapest price I've seen it yet, but I'll probably see it go cheaper. But it's one I really wanted. It was the format I really wanted, and it was a price I was willing to live with. I didn't think I was going to win, and I ended up being the only bid, so I won. Yeah. But for $37... Not bad for a premium Funimation set.
Yeah.
$37, I got the limited edition set of Orange.
That's a good solid box.
It's a nice, solid little box. It came with an envelope that unfortunately doesn't fit into the box, but it has some pretty nice art cards of the characters. You know, all the different characters there. Yeah. And... in the actual set, it's a shiny box too. Shiny. You got your Blu-ray DVD set and your book. And the book, of course, gives some art. It gives some info on the characters. And this is a series that I have mentioned I think we have mentioned a couple of times on this channel. First of all, we mentioned the anime when it went when they announced the release last summer, I think.
Okay.
And also, I found the manga, and it's a very short manga. I read 2 omnibus volumes, and that was the whole story. And I'm pretty sure the anime is a faithful adaptation of the manga, but it's a really good story. It centers on Naho Takamiya, the typical kind of earnest, chipper, upbeat high school girl. On the day of the opening ceremony for their sophomore year, she gets a letter from her, according to the letter, from the future. Actually 10 years in the future. And it tells her that she is going to beat a boy named Kakeru Naruse. And it is, anytime some from the future, there has to be some events listed so that she'll believe that it's actually from the future. And they tell her, whatever you do this first day, any other day, bring him along. This first day, do not let him join you after school. But her best bud, Hiroto Suwa, says, hey, Kakeru, come with us, join us. And she's like, oh, well, I can't trust this letter. So she lets it happen. And minor spoiler alert, that's one of a few things that she'll regret. But basically, you can't really talk about the details of it without getting into minor, if not major spoilers. But the rough idea is that the reason why she wrote to her past self is that Kakeru does not survive sophomore year. And she wants to change that. So, the show reminded me a lot of Anohana with the way, or I haven't seen the show yet. The manga reminded me a lot of Anohana because you have a sextet of friends. There are the 10 years in the future, 10 years in the past. But in this case, the high school years are the past and the young adult years are the future. And Anohana, the past was they were little kids. Anohana was freaking awesome. I love the manga for this, so I can't wait to see the anime. It's probably going to be a major tearjerker. But if it is a good, solid adaptation of the manga, this will be worth watching. And again, I didn't get it at an earth-shattering price, but I got it at a damn good price. So, very happy on that one.
Well, speaking of ones that got an okay price, of course, there are some heavy hitters when it comes to awards, and this one was a particular heavy hitter this year, and that is The Shape of Water. It's got a nice little shiny cover.
Shiny.
I actually watched this, of course, also after the awards. It won Best Director, Best Picture, Best Original Score, and Best Production Design.
Product design.
Product design. You see, look at the product.
Actually, that could be an Oscar. Like for the in-house products.
It's got a shiny cover. Product design.
Yeah.
But it's a decent film. I enjoyed it. I watched it with my mother a while back, and she was like, this isn't really that good. And I looked at it and it's like, this is decent.
Fish love.
I don't know if I considered it best film of the year, but it was very well done. Everything was pretty top-notch, so I don't feel bad for it winning Best Picture.
Yeah. Very well done movie. The music was pretty awesome. The acting was pretty phenomenal, except Michael Shannon was just a little over the top. But
and Del Toro does a good job when it comes to directing. I like collecting his films regardless. Even if it had not won anything, I would have eventually seen it, and I would have eventually gotten it from my collection.
He is what Zack Snyder wishes he was. In terms of being able to make a gorgeous film that's like, But at any rate, and speaking of creating a fantastical world from scratch and doing a really good job of it, My last pickup for the week is a show that's all about that, in a sense. And this is one of the most talked about, most notable, most acclaimed, and most infamous shows of the past decade. And I finally got it. I did not have it partly because Aniplex. But I got a really good price, and I was actually willing to go with DVD just because the price that I was able to get. This was another eBay pickup of Sword Art Online. This is, I got Volume 1, which is episodes 1 through 7. Volume 2, episodes 8 to 14. Volume 3, episodes 15 to 19. And Volume 4, 20 to 25. Sword Art Online centers on Kaneto Kirigaya, who his screen name is Kirito, and Asuna Yuki, whose screen name is Asuna. She's like the only person in SAO who used her own name, which does lead to a little bit of awkwardness later on, but I won't say exactly how or why. But basically, Kirito is, he was a beta tester for the game. He was able to play it before it was released to the masses. He spent a year on it, got to level 8, learned most of the basic tricks of the trade. And then the game went online. 10,000 people snapped it up immediately. And Kirito meets this dude named Klein. He gives him a tutorial. Klein's like, okay, dude, I'm going home for the evening. I can't leave. Wait, where's my login? And Kirito's like, well, I don't have one either. And then they're all summoned by the games master, the guy who put everything together, and said, yeah, y'all can't go. You gotta beat all 100 levels of this game before you can log out. And if you die, or someone tries to take you out of the game, you die. So that's the basic setup of the first part of the series. It's probably the best known part of the setup. And for the first part of the series, it's a pretty good show. It's very well done. It's really pretty. They did a lot of work on the backgrounds, on the world, and all this stuff. The character designs are pretty good, but there is a glitch there that I mentioned in a minute. They are all reset to their supposed actual appearance by the games master, who decided to be a dick. But almost all of them are attractive, kind of, it's like, no, these are 10,000 gamers. There should be a lot more variety of physical appearance than they showed in this show. But basically, the first part of the series goes pretty good. Asuna is a total badass, and she's awesome. And even the so-called Asuna and Kirito do nothing episodes, those were my favorite episodes. I liked their relationship. I liked everything about it. Minor spoiler alert, second half of the series goes downhill fast. And a big part of it is, she is Sleeping Beauty in the second half of the series. In today's world, this show comes across too misogynistic.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing I think a lot of people had with the show. There were other glitches, there were other issues, but that was the biggest issue. And it is an issue. This show has become infamous because of its downfalls. But it's still very popular. There's a third season coming out, in a week?
Yeah.
And I kind of want to see it. So, and then the movie actually got an American release and some pretty good.
There's a number of games for it, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of games. That was a huge franchise, and it's hugely popular. But I managed to get all 4 of these volumes for $48, including shipping.
I just need to get the rest of it.
$12 a piece for Aniplex DVDs. That's unheard of. And yes, right after I won that, someone put up both seasons and the X special on DVD. You know how much that ended up going for? It's like 210.
Wow.
So it was like,
That's still not a bad deal considering.
yeah, for Aniplex, not a bad deal. But I am very happy to have this, even if it's not the best show ever, even if it should have been much better. It's kind of like Death Note, you know,
Yeah.
it should have been better. But
Well, I see.
Yes.
To me, it reminds me of Dot Hack.
Yeah.
I've only seen a little bit of it, and it's not worth paying Aniplex prices for. If I get lucky, like you have, maybe. But again, not worth paying like $60, $70 a
what you
volume
paid,
for.
what you paid for Puella?
Actually, Puella, I got at a great deal.
Well, you did. But I mean, you paid a crap
Oh, I
ton,
still
but
paid.
you
It was
got those
$150
really,
for like
but you got
3
those
volumes.
really
yeah.
pretty collections.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and actually, one thing that I will say about this, I did not know about this until after I made the purchase. I am still open to getting the limited sets if I can actually do it decently. Supposedly, the shorts are really good, but they're not in the standard release. They're only in the limited release. It's very annoying. I didn't even know about the shorts when I made the purchase, but I found out afterwards. I was like, oh, I can't wait. Damn it.
Damn you, Aniplex!
Yeah.
Well, for me, I think you should have been able to guess the theme by now, which is the 2018 Academy Awards. Now, I finally was able to complete my set for the year, and I'm going to make, and that's going to be my last pickup. But beforehand, I'm going to preface it with what I already have, real quick. So, first off, with Best Makeup and Hairstyling, and of course, Best Actor, Darkest Hour. Also watched after the awards. Also, excellent film. So far, one of my favorite that I've seen in what I've presented so far. Very well done. Also, in that vein, apparently, for Best Film Editing, Best Sound Editing, and Best Sound Mixing, Dunkirk, which I had seen before the awards, oddly enough. Really good film. It could have been better. I mean, Nolan's done better, but still very good. Good to watch alongside Darkest Hour, actually.
Yeah, I mean, they're both about the Dunkirk extraction, so yeah.
Then, of course, with Best Actress and Best Supporting Actor, 3 Billboards, Outside Ebbing, Missouri. This was an excellent film, hard to watch at times, but it is a very well done film. I think I watched this very shortly after the awards. It deserved what it got. It really did. If you haven't seen it, I would say definitely watch it. And I got another one, of course, that is if you haven't seen it, you should watch it, which was Best Original Song and Best Animated Feature, Coco, which I've got in Steelbook, by the way.
Cool set.
This film is friggin' awesome. Actually, I did watch this beforehand. It was one of the few I was so happy I got to watch this beforehand. It is a really cool one. It does not have the Oscar-nominated short that they did on it. You have to get Cars 3 for that one. You would think that this one would be the one they showed their short in front of. Instead, and put the Frozen short in front of Cars 3. To me, if they did that, audiences would not have complained. Because of that, I did not get to see the darn short that they were talking about.
Yeah. They did the they
Frozen
didn't
short.
put the short in that one, did they?
No, they did not.
They didn't in my edition either. Yeah, that was some controversy. That short
It'll
got
come out in
yanked.
like a separate a shorts volume that
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
release in the future.
Well, the next Frozen movie will.
And yeah,
They might I wouldn't be surprised if they reattach it to the new Wreck-It Ralph movie.
it's possible.
Yeah.
Because it would be a more appropriate one to
Yeah.
go in front of. And then Best Original Screenplay, Get Out. Which, again, great film. I want to say I did see this one before the Oscars as well.
I think you did.
And Very well done. Jordan Peele taking his turn at horror. Awesome. Again, can't recommend it enough. Kind of makes you paranoid, though. Now, finally, this is the one. It cost me $5 on eBay.
You really lucked out.
This is something that you cannot get in
Unless you-
commercial release. And that is Icarus. As you can see, you got this Academy Award winner, Best Documentary Feature, Icarus, and it's got on here for your consideration. This was what they sent for the Emmys for their consideration. I was actually quite happy to get this, because who knows if Netflix is ever going to do an official physical release of this film. This is as official as you can get right now, and probably as official as you're going to ever get.
What you waiting for, Netflix?
So this allows me to say I do have the entirety of this particular Oscar season.
You're just lucky Mudbound didn't win.
I'm sure I could probably find another one of those online. People sell them. They're not supposed to,
Yeah.
but they do.
But, they wouldn't have to if companies would make these things available.
But $5, that was...
You lucked out. You lucked
So-
out, yeah.
I said, we're going to have to make this a little bit longer this time because this was Oscar ready.
Yeah.
So with that, what'd you think of what we picked up? Of course, let us know in the comments if there's anything that struck your eye, saying this is awesome, or... of course, did you pick up anything fun this week? Let us know. And of course, like, subscribe, and share.
Right? Yeah.
And we will see you on the next one.
Goodbye.